Hey guys, I am Vikas Hassan and welcome back to the Ultimate Academy. In today's video, you will be learning how to get A+ band in IELTS Speaking for the part 1. This is kind of a live demo and I'll be using the hacks that I've shared with you before in the video and show you how to answer in real time part 1 question for IELTS. By the way, this video is also from one of the most popular courses on IELTS in the world called Ultimate Guide to Hacking IELTS, link to which you can find in the description below. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so as we've been learning that we don't have to use complex vocabulary, complicated sentence structures to score high in IELTS. Instead, it's going to be very simple. So the simple over complex method. Fluency does not mean fast, so we don't have to speak in very fluent manner. We will speak very slowly, thinking first and then speaking. Accent does not matter. So we'll be speaking in our natural accent, whatever that is for you. And then tell, don't speak. We will be telling the interviewer as if this is new information for the interviewer and he and she is like somebody we are meeting over coffee, right? And finally, tonality is the secret key. So we will put emphasis on the words, we'll put energy, enthusiasm in the words. With that, let's get into it. So my first question is, so where are you based? I am based in Melbourne. Melbourne is one of the largest cities in Australia, together with Sydney and Brisbane. Melbourne is situated in the southern part of Australia in a state called Victoria. Melbourne is also the sports and culture capital of Australia. Melbourne is also considered one of the best, most livable cities to live in the world, and it has been ranked for the best spot for the last 12 years. So that's it. What have we learned here? We have learned here that we have to answer part 1 question in 3 to 4 sentences. I think I used 5 sentences. We have also learned that the sentences don't have to be complicated sentences and this and that, therefore this, moreover, furthermore. No. It can be very simple, point by point answer, and that's it. That's all you need to know. Moving on, the second question usually asked is your city an interesting place to live? Yes, I find my city to be a very interesting place to live. One of the reasons for that is that Melbourne is kind of a multicultural melting spot of the world. From my observation, I realized that about 60% of the people on the streets of Melbourne are actually not native Australians. They can be from Asia, they can be from Europe, they can be from Americas. That makes it a nice place to live for somebody who is migrating to Australia. So again, let's deconstruct it. Very simple English, not fast at all, but fluent. What that means is thinking first, then speaking. Also, I am telling to the interviewer, not just, I think Melbourne is a very interesting city to live in. There are like a lot of multicultural people here. So you see, I'm not doing this. I'm instead being very vocal, like telling the interviewer as if this is the new information for the interviewer. This is what you will be doing. Let's move on. What are some of the activities people love to do in your city? As I mentioned before, Melbourne is like the sports and cultural capital of Australia. Wherever you go, you see that there are theatres on the streets. They're open air as well as indoors. And at one point in time, I think there are a dozen different shows that are happening around Melbourne. At the same time, there are so many sports tournaments happening, from football to cricket to horse racing, that Australia even have a national holiday for the football final World Cup. So I think one of the things that I really observe about people in Melbourne that I really like is the amount of people taking part in the culture and sporting activities. Okay, so again, very simple, straightforward answer, 5 to 6 lines and bullet points kind of answer, not making it very complicated. Let's move on. Now the questions will usually shift to you. What hobbies do you like? What is the work that you do? What do you like about work? What do you don't like about work? So we'll do 3 more questions. My fourth question is, what is the work that you do? By the way, this is the question. It will be asked pretty much absolutely for sure. If you're a student or if you're employed, it will be asked, what is the work do you do or what do you study if you're a student? The question is, what is the work do you do? I am a content creator. I realized that since 2015, the world has shifted in a way that a lot of people prefer learning from their peers on the internet. That is why we are spending about 6 to 8 hours on the internet these days, watching YouTube videos, reading blogs, watching TikTok videos, watching Instagram videos, and so on. So I am one of those people who create this content on the internet. I have two major companies, brands. They're called Ultimate Academy and Digital Nomad Academy. For both of these brands, I am creating content which spans across different verticals. In Digital Nomad Academy, I am teaching skills that are related to digital marketing, content creation, and so on. And in Ultimate Academy, I create content regarding speaking skills, confidence, IELTS, PTE, online test prep, and so on. And the interviewer will usually ask, what do you like and not like about your work? And to answer this, we will actually use the idea which I call closed loop. Closed loop is that you open the loop by saying that I have two things that I like about my work, or I have a couple of things that I like and a couple of things that I don't like. So for example, there are a couple of things I really like about my work. First is that it is moving with the world. So I feel like I am progressing as fast as the world is progressing. As our learning behaviors are changing, my notion of work is changing as well. For example, I started out as a writer, but I have evolved into video content as the world is moving in this direction. The other thing I like about my work is that I am able to be self-employed, which means that I design my own hours. However, there are a couple of things that I do not like about my work. The first is that because I have to manage my own deadlines, sometimes I'm not able to keep myself motivated enough to keep working and keep putting in 8 to 9 hours a day. That is required if you're working for somebody else, because the motivation then comes from external authority. And secondly, because in the self-earning job, your monthly income is not set. Every month it fluctuates. Some months you are earning tremendously more than you would have been earning in a job and you feel great. And the other months you are just putting in too much resources into your business while you're not taking that much profits out of it. And that feels difficult. So what have I done here? What I've done here is that I've showed you how to answer a complicated, longer question in a structured manner. So you always do is that you start with like, I have two reasons to say, or there are 2 points that come to my mind, or I have a couple of reasons, okay? And then you say one and second, or you say this one and the other one, or you say first and second. And then you transition by saying however. And when you go however, and then you state another 2 reasons. However, there are a couple of things that I do not like about my work, first and second. That's it. This is one strategy that you'll be using to answer as many questions as you can. This can be, what do you think about climate change? And you go like, there are a couple of pointers that come to my head when I think about climate change. First is this, second is this, so on and so forth. Let's move on to the last question. One of the questions would always be, what hobbies do you enjoy? And how do you answer that? You answer that again in 3 to 4, maximum 5 lines, and you go step by step. Let's get into it. What are the hobbies that you enjoy? Basically, I spend a lot of time working during the weekdays, but one of the hobbies that I really enjoy is going to the gym or playing sports. Basically, I am a lot into fitness. So these days, about 4 days a week, from 7 to 8 p.m, I tend to hit gym. And these days, I'm focusing on lifting heavy weights. On the weekends, I've joined a cricket club in Australia and I play cricket with my club mates. Again, what have we learned here? We've learned here that we don't have to have complicated answers. Sometimes you will have a lot to say about the question. For example, the previous question was an example that what do you like and dislike about your work? I had a lot to say. But sometimes you'll have just a very few points. For example, which kind of weather do you like? What kind of food do you like? What other hobbies do you do? For these questions, always have in mind 3 to 4 sentences, 30 seconds roughly, and you answer step by step. Very clean sentences, not going fast, not using complicated vocabulary, very simple, simple over complex. Also, fluency does not mean fast, very simple, and you're telling the other person as if this is the new information for that person. So with that, we have come to the first of the live demos. This was of part 1 of IELTS Speaking. I've shared with you 6 questions, sample answers, but also gave you the framework and the hacks and the way I approach these questions. This is the same method I've used to get 8 in my IELTS Speaking, and my students have gotten 8.5 and 9 over the last 3 years. By the way, my student of Ultimate Guide to Hacking IELTS, which is one of the most popular courses of IELTS in the world, and you can find it in the link in the description below. In the next video, we'll be looking at the live demo of how to approach part 2 of IELTS Speaking. Stay tuned. If you have not yet, subscribe to the Ultimate Academy so the next video comes directly on your feed. See you!